I always have to remember to turn my mic on and off before it actually starts getting picked up in OBS. Anyway, hello, and welcome back to your favorite bodybuilding streamer. No? Not believable yet? Okay, fine. Welcome back to another BeefTube Twitch stream. It's gonna be another evening of drama, and I don't know, I feel like it's gonna get like really Game of Thronesy. Does that make sense? But yes. Just kind of double checking everything here and making sure that it's working before we actually get carried away, because I don't know what happened on my last stream last night. It never updated my stream information, so it said I was playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 like all night, well, for like half the night. So yeah, whatever. Yes. I don't know about you guys, but I'm absolutely ready for sweater weather. 100%. Give me a second here. Get my narrating mindset on. Okay. This is gonna be, I don't know, last time I streamed this, I felt like we were approaching like some real craziness. I almost lost my job as a judge. I had to crawl to my father and have him pull some strings to help me keep my job. Whatever that's worth. I don't know. It's getting interesting though. Okay, so we already did this last time, but I'm not sure why it's picking up before. So this is just the family gala. Okay. So wealth increased by 2. We're still doing pretty good. Our reputation is in dire straits. Our family reputation. So whatever that's worth. I'm now 23 years old. Okay. Magra has received alarming news from the neighboring province of Illyria. The lowborn convicts toiling in the Illyrian mines have revolted against their noble masters. For the first time in many long, peaceful years, commoners have taken up arms. Worse yet, the insurgents had guns and gunpowder, and no one knows how they got them. Gunpowder weapons were banned throughout the Empire as soon as they were invented. The lords deemed firearms dishonorable and unfit for the nobles. Even Legion soldiers are forbidden from using them. But now gunshots were echoing through the mutinous Illyrian mines. Interesting. Very interesting. I've always, you know, if you think about like the history of mankind, firearms were like when the real shift in power happened, you know, like between like nobility or whatever, because firearms are the great equalizer of all men. You know, they pierce through breastplates and, horses, and you don't have to be particularly smart in order to be able to use one, So, interesting how that's become a factor in this all of a sudden. The Imperial Legion was deployed to quell the riot. The Legionnaires slaughtered the rebels without mercy, and the uprising choked to death on its own blood before it even began. The south of Illyria is now a forest of gallows. The convicts' corpses were swaying in the wind as a warning to any commoner who might dare to take up arms. Although the rebellion succumbed quickly to the Imperial military's onslaught, many Legion soldiers and officers were slain by the insurgents' firearms. Their steel armor was no match for bullets. The rioters' weapons were destroyed in a public ceremony, but no one knows who built or smuggled them into the mines. All Imperial overseers soon issued public reminders in their provinces. The punishment for owning a gunpowder weapon is true death by execution. But the Empire is still restless, still anxious. Somehow guns found their way into commoners' hands, if only for a short time. Could gunpowder and lead one day endanger the old ways of the Empire? Authorities of Magra fear that unrest may soon spill over here. Due to the double tax, peasant farms and industrial manufactories are facing harsh times. The province's wealth is steadily declining, but the discontent of the commoners is still held back by the eternal lot that demands they accept their suffering. A friend in need. You arrive at the office one fine morning and find a visitor already sitting there. The visitor is none other than Thomas Guerrero. His heavy uniform already bears a captain's chevrons. Thomas looks nervous, his fingers drumming a foreboding staccato on the desk. Why has your old friend decided to pay you a visit? You pat your friend on the shoulder and congratulate him on his promotion. Thomas shrugs, quietly brimming with pride. I got bumped up a month ago. Apparently the Legion is running short on decent officers. And then I realized, why are there so few of them? Wish I knew my direct superior was gonna be our very own Commander Otan. Thomas grows grim at the mention of Otan. Listen, buddy. You and me, we always help each other out, right? That Archnean bastard, well, he's challenged me to a duel. For the second time. He cut me down a month ago. That was my second lesser death. I know I never told you, but it was tough. The gods, they spoke to me there, in the hereafter. But right now I got something worse to worry about than matters of the soul. See, Otan, he remembers me from the time at the academy when I stood up to him at the party, and now he's gonna kill me again and again until my true death comes. So it's a duel. That's Otan's way of having fun with his subordinates. Beef, I'm asking you as a friend. Will you be my second at the duel? I know Prefect Elborn doesn't like any kind of sword fighting. It's one of the old traditions he wants to put a stop to. But if I show up without a second, he won't just kill me for a third time, he'll dishonor me too. You knit your brow in thought. I feel like I may have kind of did that in real life. In the Prefect's opinion, dueling is a lawless tool of noble tyranny. Elborn sees duels as an outmoded way of circumventing the legal system. He would be crushed to learn that one of his judges has been involved in a duel. Thomas sighs heavily. So the game is pitting me... Okay, the game is pitting me between Thomas and Elborn. I know this is hard, pal, but I've got no one else to turn to. All the boys in the Legion fear Otan like the plague. You're the only noble who can support me in this. But I know this duel won't be the end. Our great Sir Otan will find an excuse for a third duel before you know it. That'll be my last one for sure. Thomas rolls up the sleeve of his uniform. 2 pitch black lines encircle his forearm. He is desperate, and it is easy to see why. One-on-one against an Archnean swordsman, he is doomed. The law forbids dueling, but if you refuse to show Thomas your support through your presence, your friend's spirit will be broken before his body can even be killed. You recall all the previous encounters with Otan in your youth. Is there a chance the distinguished Arcanian still remembers you? If you go to him and speak in Thomas's defense, will he even bother to listen? Yeah, there's no way I owe that chump of... I'm not... Yeah, there's no way. There's no way he likes me. I've done nothing. I don't like him at all. Can't decline his request. Why? Because of the bond of friendship. You have been best friends with Thomas ever since you were little boys. Does he really think you would abandon him to such a cruel fate? Of course you'll be his second at the duel, no matter what. Your friendship will not be broken, not even if you risk Prefect Elborn's displeasure. As the two of you walk to the palace ruins, you finally have time to ask Thomas for more information. What was Otan's excuse for challenging to a duel this time? Here's what happened. Otan told me to head to a nearby village with a squad of Legion soldiers. Slamina, it's called. The villagers refused to pay the Archduke's tax. Said they had already paid the tax to Gaius Tempest's men. He's the overseer, so the law says the tax is his. So Otan told me and the lads to string up a couple of the rowdiest peasants and put their houses to the torch to teach the rest of them a lesson. So we went there, and let me tell you, buddy, I didn't join the Legion to start hanging people and burning villages. So we decided to have a word with the village elder first. The locals soon realized what was going on. Losing money is one thing, but losing a spare life is worse. They hemmed and hawed and finally found enough cash to pay Archduke Melanitis. Which means we came back to Anazat with nobody dead and all the money for the treasury. But then the commander summons me and claims I didn't follow his order, which means I also slighted the honor of the noble Arcanian who is my commander. So he challenges me to a duel. Man, I hate this guy. And you know what? I'm not the first, Beef, and I'm not the last. Any officer in the Legion can end up like me. Otan does as he sees fit, with no plans to stop. He's a commander, he's a noble of the sword, he's an Arcanian. We're just dirt under his boot. Who's gonna rein him in? You reach the side of the duel just before dawn. By a half-crumbled wall, you see a tall figure clad in a thick cloak. Dorius Otan, High Commander of Magra, already expecting you. His azure fingers drum impatiently on the pommel of his sword. Thomas dutifully bows to his commander. Otan grimaces at him. You're late, Captain Guerrero. Why should I have to wait for you? You've insulted me again already. And who's this? I've seen your face before. I'm the guy who's laid up with that girl you like. Oh, wait. Anyway, don't have time for this. In that case, I have other duels today. Oh, so this guy is just slaying people left and right based off of his insulted honor. Man, I hate this guy. I've already said that. I'll keep saying it though. The commander's second appears from the shadows, a young nobleman, quiet and eager to oblige his betters. As seconds, you ask the duelists if they are ready. Without a word, Otan draws his sword. Thomas nods anxiously, clearly ready to face another death. The two bow ceremoniously and adopt the dueling stance. The difference between them is apparent as soon as they begin. Otan's sword seems like an extension of his arm. Thomas pales before him, like a clumsy child who has grabbed father's sword for the first time. Everything about this battle shows that Otan treats this duel as no more than entertainment. The Arcanian moves around so rapidly and gracefully your friend can barely defend himself against the flurry of strikes. Then, for the smallest moment, Otan tones down his assault, and for the first time during the duel, Thomas makes a riposte. Easily, effortlessly, Otan deflects Thomas's blow, and then retaliates. His sword sticks through your friend's shoulder. As soon as you see the blade drew blood, you shout for the duel to end. The debt for the insult has been paid in blood. If the loser of the duel is ready to offer his apology, the fight must stop. What? Is some human trying to teach me the laws of the duel? I'm an Arcanian of the Otan dynasty. There is no one here who can teach me the ways of honor. His sword flashes and stabs your friend straight through the heart. A wet red spot begins to spread across Thomas's shirt. Your friend stumbles backward. He drops his sword, his knees buckle. A wheeze, another, and a cough full of blood. and his bright eyes grow dim and dull. Slowly, Thomas's body disappears. His blood-stained clothes, his sword, and his footsteps in the dust are all that remains. Otan hands his sword to his second, who is ready to wipe it down. Well then, that pitiful human will face another duel very soon. Let's hope he fights better during his last life. When your friend is reborn, tell him my exact words. I gotta get rid of this guy. I'm not gonna let Thomas go out like that. The Archnean walks away, calm and composed, his second intel. Dazed and numb, all you can do now is gather your friend's belongings and bring them to his house. Unless you intervene, Thomas is doomed to meet his true death soon. You are a judge, but to an Archnean of such rank and birth, your authority means nothing. Is there any way you can help your friend? A case against Otan. The day after your meeting with Thomas, time slows to a crawl. After you examine one case after another, you cannot help but think back to your friend and his fate, again and again. There is a knock at the door. Baron Elborn, the prefect, has decided to pay you a visit. I have a matter to discuss with you, Brante. Would you mind if we take a walk? It's getting a bit stuffy in here. The prefect clearly wants to discuss something in private. You walk down the stairs together and leave the prefecture. Soon, the two of you are walking down the noisy streets of the Brass District. The wind is strong today, the gray sky mercifully overcast. The people around you are bartering, buying, and selling eagerly. The streets are full of craftsmen and factory workers. Merchant carts squeak as they roll down the streets. The head of the prefecture looks more worried than usual, lost in thought as he observes the bustling street life around him. Brante, do you recall how we talked about the tyranny of the nobility in the province? Dorius Otan, the High Commander of Magra, is on a murderous spree. He challenges his subordinates to a duel for the slightest infraction and slaughters them with impunity. If our law is unable to protect anyone from the violent tyranny of the Archneans, who will ever respect the law? It's time we put an end to this. Perfect timing. As long as I'm in charge of the prefecture, establishing the rule of law over people of all estates and titles is our most important task. But people like Otan stand in our way. People who think themselves above the law. We need to prove them wrong. I have been informed that Otan has pressured your childhood friend, Captain Thomas Guerrero, into a duel, and I believe Sir Guerrero has sought your assistance in private. Am I right? You admit that it is so. Indeed, as an old friend, Thomas is counting on you to defend him. And so, young Brante, I believe that to be reason enough to entrust this case to you officially. If you find yourself doubting your abilities, know that you are my best candidate. No other judge would have the courage to prosecute an Archnean. That, and I trust you more than any ordinary judge. I spoke to your father, but even he would not accept this undertaking. He says your family has worked too hard to be ennobled by the sword to risk it all now. But you bear no such burden, do you? I don't really care about the being ennobled by the sword part. Matters not to me. As it stands, well, maybe it does a little bit. As it stands right now, sentencing an Archnean to even the smallest punishment is unthinkable. But drop by drop, water can wear down any stone. We will make our way to Otan, but we must do it slowly and carefully. What we need is a perfectly prepared case. We need you to find enough incontrovertible evidence and enough witnesses who are willing to testify in court. But I'm sure you realize that even this won't be enough to force an Archnean to go to trial. Don't you, Beef? We have to change the unspoken rules in our city and province. We'll start with lower-ranking people, lower-ranking cases, and little by little, we'll establish rules that even highborn nobles will have to obey. All of a sudden, Elborn stops. Standing in the middle of a street bustling with life, he points out a number of commoners hurrying about their business. Turn this down a little bit, maybe. Yeah, that'll be fine. Just look. All these people need to know that there is such a thing as justice. The law must apply to all of them, no matter their lot, Whether suffering, praying, or ruling, they need to know that they can rely on us judges to enforce the law against anyone and everyone. I'm counting on you in this, Sir Brante. You stand motionless as Elborn studies you intently. From now on, from this moment forth, you will prosecute a case against the High Commander of Magra, a highborn Archnean from an ancient dynasty. This is a pivotal moment in your destiny and your career. You could rise higher than ever, or plunge into obscurity and ruin. You decide to talk about Thomas and his fate. Right now, he represents your best chance at getting Otan indicted, but there is absolutely no guarantee he will live to speak at trial. If you are to oversee this case, ensuring his safety has to be the first thing you do. You're right, Brante. We need Thomas Guerrero to see this to the end. But remember, this is about more than just your friend and his fate. This is a matter of law and justice for the entire province. The peril to Sir Thomas's life is great indeed, but if you openly defy the High Commander right now, your standing will suffer accordingly. You could find a safe shelter for Sir Thomas away from Otan, but if Thomas remains in the city, he might be of use when you begin looking for Otan's other victims. I realize that you're looking for a way to rescue your friend, but right now we must all use caution, lest our entire cause suffer. What say you, Beef? What is your plan? You get Thomas framed and taken to prison, all to keep him safe from another duel? I don't think he'd be safe in custody, though. This decision right here, I think, is ultimately going to decide whether or not Thomas is going to survive this. So the first option I don't think is ideal. The fourth option is not available. If I send him out of Anazat, I'm sure that's going to impact the witnesses that we find against Otan. But if we have him framed and taken into custody to protect him, I don't think he would be entirely safe there either. But I think it's going to be the best compromise that we have right now. I feel like there's a very good chance that I'm going to lose my friend here. You inform Elborn that you have a plan to protect Thomas, but the prefect need not know the details. It will be safer for everyone this way. I don't agree with that, but that it will, Brante. You're the only one who truly knows how to help your friend. Proceed then. My only request is that you remain within the law at all times. You assure the prefect that the law will not be broken. On the contrary, it will be enforced with prejudice. I will leave that to your conscience then. We should get back to work. Begin preparing the case at once. Back at the office, you send a note to Thomas's address. A brief request to visit you at the prefecture as soon as possible. He returns to your office that evening. You have not seen him for just one day, but he looks a decade older. It pains you to see him so downcast. But you have news. Otan is well on his way toward being punished for his crimes. You are building a case against the High Commander of Magra, and Thomas absolutely has to participate in the trial as the main witness and tell the whole truth about the lawless tyranny of the haughty Archnean. Upon hearing these words, Thomas stands tall again. You spy a wicked spark in his eyes, a glimmer familiar from the years when you both were young. My oh my, the Brante boy next door wants to put an Archnean behind bars. Count me in, buddy. I'll bear witness, alright, and I'm gonna have myself a good rant about that highborn bastard. You ask your friend to pace himself for now. First of all, Thomas needs protection against Otan's harassment. You have a plan for that. You will start building a case of illegal dueling, but introduce the facts in a different way. It will look like Thomas was the one who initiated the duel, and you will personally sentence him to a term in prison and temporary revocation of the sword. This way, Otan will be unable to reach Thomas or challenge him again. Thomas will remain safe for several months. You want to put me in jail? Isn't that too much? How's that going to affect my standing in the Legion? But my only alternative is dueling Otan again. Okay, do what you must. I'll put my trust in you, even if it means spending a couple of months behind bars. It shouldn't be any worse than our barracks. Yeah, probably not. That settled, you write an order to imprison Captain Thomas Guerrero for inciting a duel with his superior, Sir Dorius Otan. All that is left now is to summon the gendarmes and have them seize Thomas's sword and take him to prison. You calmly watch your friend being put in shackles. He manages a sly wink before being led out of your office. Now Captain Guerrero should be locked in a dark cell and kept safe and sound by the prefecture. Not even an Archnean High Commander has the power to pull to get to him there. Okay, that was weird. But your gambit does not go unnoticed. One of the judges at the prefecture learns about your order and starts spreading rumors among the other nobles, claiming you besmirched the good name of Sir Dorius Otan. After all, you have created a written record of Otan being challenged to a duel by one of his own captains, a considerable mark of shame for an Archnean High Commander. I don't care. I've got 3 extra lives. Thomas is on his last one. I got 2 extra lives. The nobles are talking about it now. This will surely attract Otan's unwanted attention to the case and make your work as a judge more difficult. Ugh. You have been entrusted with a case against the noble and influential Archnean, the High Commander of the province. He is accused of violence against his own legionnaires. Procession to the tree. A holy day is coming. A day when the entire empire thanks the twins for the silver tree, the sign they left behind as a reminder of their eternal presence in this world. This momentous occasion is especially important for Anazat, but the clergy cannot agree on how best to celebrate it. Father Leonard has called for all worshippers of the twins to approach the temple of the silver tree and kneel before the sacred relic. But the old clergy balks at the idea of Leonard and the new believers leading the ritual. The day has come. An immense crowd is moving in a procession towards the temple near the silver tree where Father Leonard awaits. Let me guess, a bomb's gonna go off? But an inquisitor by the name of Jean stands in their way. Jeanne? She strikes a defiant pose. That one confuses me every time. Confronted by a member of the Holy Order of the Inquisition, the procession reluctantly stops. People, turn back. Those who attend Leonard's rite will succumb to the new faith. Those who reject the lots will defy their divine design. You're about to bring the wrath of the gods down upon us all. Open your eyes, go back to your homes and pray to the twins. The procession wants to move, but the people are confused, until Father Leonard himself walks out of the temple to meet Jeanne face to face. People of Anazat, no one has the right to deny you the sacred ritual of worshipping at the tree, not even the Inquisition. Is such a denial not more likely to provoke the wrath of the twins? The Inquisition must know that the new faith does not seek to challenge or defy the twins. We are merely trying to correct the mistakes of those who came before us. We do not anger the twins. We merely vex those who refuse to accept the dawn of a new age. Jeanne finds herself between a rock and a hard place. Seeing that she has no other choice, she lets the procession pass. The new faith's numbers have swelled of late. It cannot be stopped now. Today is an important holiday. The entire empire is celebrating the festival of the Silver Tree, which commemorates the parting gift of the twin gods, the divine sapling they planted in our mortal world in the middle of Anazat. Families of the city spend the day in peace and quiet, contemplating the divine roots that join together all people, their bloodlines, and their empire. Mother always oversees this holiday. The day before the festival, she seemed to have shaken off her usual apathy and engaged in the preparations with excitement. It was as though her illness had loosened its grip. Mother gathers the entire family for the holiday meal. Father is in high spirits today, sharing jokes with you and Nathan. Stefan is trying to suppress an atypical agitation. Gloria is the last to join you at the table. She is wearing new breeches with high stockings and a yellow vest. So she's just dressing like a dude. I don't know how I feel about that. My tea, that is. It's kind of gross. But it must be consumed. Gloria, you're wearing men's clothes again, says Mom. No, Mother, I'm wearing clothes women are forbidden to wear. Father gives Gloria a stern look. Stefan rolls his eyes but says nothing. Suddenly, Nathan speaks up. A few days ago in the market, I saw a grocer dressed as Overseer Gaius Tempest. He had a huge carrot for his scepter. He got a sound drubbing, of course, but until then, it was quite a hoot. Look, Nathan, you're a hoodlum, dude. Nathan's a hoodlum. You know, like, thought I did better than that. Everybody laughs at the ridiculous story, relieved. Even Gloria has a smile on her face when she sits down. The feast commences. Your home finally feels warm for a moment. Daggone, look, it's everybody all gathered together before people start dropping dead left and right. I'm just kidding. I don't know. Maybe it's me. It wasn't so long ago the four of you couldn't even ever reach up to this table. The first word you said, Gloria, was gimme! Nathan used to cling to my skirt all the time, almost hearing it. And you, Beef, you couldn't talk at all yet, but your piercing stare was so expressive. It felt as if you were talking to me. Mother looks at Stefan and suddenly grows quiet. When I met Stefan, he was already 3 years old. He was so serious and a smooth talker to boot. I remember that he had a music teacher, but he was too shy to play in front of me, so I used to listen from the next room. Stefan's face twitches. Your older brother rises and moves to the old harpsichord. His fingers fly gracefully over the keys. A melody fills the house, melancholy and sweet. The last note lingers in the air, then silence falls. The family is awestruck. Words fail you all. Who wrote that? A nobleman from the capital. We've been drinking a glass of wine and beating a servant? Between drinking a glass of wine and beating a servant? Your sister's cutting remark puts an end to the warm, cozy atmosphere. Stefan calmly turns to face her. No, it was I who composed this piece of music. It is called Mother. Mother rises to her feet. She would have needed help to do this just recently, and now she treads unassisted towards Stefan and draws him close. Stefan puts his arms around his stepmother's waist, then detaches himself awkwardly. May the twin gods bless you, Lydia. Wow. Wow, unexpected. Gloria considers this scene with thinly veiled fury in her eyes. Of course, highborn nobles like Stefan are made for the arts. They're the only ones lucky enough to have a soul and experience inspiration, unlike us, the lowborn. We aren't supposed to feel anything but suffering, let alone express it in poetry. Everyone notices that Gloria is clutching pages filled with writing, her poems. Your sister casts a mournful glaze at the family, and her eyes rest on you. Let's see what happens. Let Gloria read her poems. Alright, maybe you'll shut up after all this. You rise from your seat and speak. In your speech, you wholeheartedly support your sister. Gloria had the misfortune to be born a commoner, but she is still entitled to express her feeling. Why is Stefan the only one that has the right to delight Mother with his creations? Every member of our family should be equal. But what about her lot, son? Gloria is permitting herself to practice a noble activity, thus breaching the divine order. He softly explained to Mother that times have changed. Nowadays, art isn't just a pleasure for the nobles. It's also a tirade plied by many commoners. Trade, not tirade. More and more low-born tradespeople are taking up the pen and ink rather than the hammer. This is now their labor and their suffering. Mother lets out a heavy sigh, but yields to the onslaught of your inspired speech. Emboldened by your support, Gloria steps into the center of the room. Her eyes are fixed on Father. A stranger and a bastard I am called. I am, but still I long for you to say that I am yours, and melt the icy cold that burns within my heart both night and day. My mother and my brothers are all near, but I feel cold, as though we were apart. Ashamed, yet still compelled to make you hear, I long to hold you closely to my heart. I am a stranger, 'tis my only crime. Forgive me, oh, but mercy is forbidden. I hope you'll see, if not forgive, in time, my bitter love, both joyous and well hidden. Father stares at her in bewilderment. Gloria, Stefan springs to his feet and leaves for his chambers, slamming the door behind him. I don't feel so well. Nathan, son, please help me to my room. Mother leaves the room leaning on Nathan's arm. The celebration is cut short. Why do people... I don't know. Granted, Gloria is rather abrasive in her ways, but also I don't know. That's cool. I think we're doing well on the family front as far as personal relationships go, but our family reputation is not doing very good. Okay, well, Unity probably wasn't going to go anywhere good anyway, so. This event is a consequence of your previous actions. Octavia Milanitis, grown close. Ooh, I was wondering when we were going to get back to this. I was very curious about this. A rendezvous with Octavia. Octavia and you do not see each other very often. Sometimes, as the days wear on, you forget about your unusual liaison. But then the Archduke's daughter bursts into your life and you abandon yourself to passion until she disappears again. Today, Octavia is waiting for you at her summer home in the city. It is a cozy little villa, well concealed from prying eyes by a high fence. Beyond the fence is a glorious garden. You have never seen one so beautiful in Magra. Octavia meets you on the veranda. She is wearing a light white frock that leaves her shoulders exposed. Her black hair cascades down her back. You bow to Lady Milanitis. She grins and draws you toward her so that you sit down by her side. The sun is melting beyond the horizon. Octavia commands her servants to leave you alone. Tonight she is strangely pensive, barely touching her food and drink. You cautiously inquire if anything is amiss. Listen to me, Beef. I am at a crossroads. My father, the Archduke, is planning to send me out of Magra for a while. Apparently, in his opinion, my escapades are bound to cause trouble for our family. Well, I mean, you know. You might be right. Octavia stands up, towering above you. Her eyes burn with a menacing flame. I am a daughter of the great family of Milanitis, an Archnean born at the peak of the world. All shall tremble before me. Isn't that so, Beef Brante? A before you can reply, Octavia abruptly lowers her head, downhearted. I am not free. Just like you, my dear human Brante, I have a duty to my family, to my blood tide, to the Empire. My whole life, all I've ever done is fulfill obligations created by others. I have no aspirations. Everything is preordained. What the world is like, how I ought to live, what my father doesn't decide for me. Those two up on the peak of the shining pillar already have. I'm looking for a way out of this cage. It must exist. I study history, but all I find are tidbits of lost knowledge. But I believe that I'm not the first to try to escape the chains of this world. What am I to do, Beef? You yearn to break free of the fetters of fate just as I do. You have escaped the commoner's lot and joined the higher estate. But your new lot is just as much of a prison, isn't it? Could it really be that none of us will ever be free? Octavia looks into your eyes dolefully. You have never seen her so helpless before. Share my revelation. Inquire about this arcane knowledge. Lose yourself in pleasure. I don't remember what my revelation was. that's my issue right now. One of these must be true. I don't remember what my revelation was, so I'm reluctant to actually just go ahead and share whatever information that might be. That was in chapter 2? Okay, so I didn't where was this revelation at? I don't know. Okay, we're gonna have to I'll share my revelation, because I don't inquire about this arcane knowledge. I gotta think about this one for a second. Oh, alright, well, that was a distraction. Drinking like some medicinal herbal tea because I've been doing a lot of running lately, and I didn't want my my voice to give out as much while I was reading this evening, because I don't know, you ever like just ran a lot and you have like a sore throat when you're done? That happens to me a lot. I guess probably because I'm like really out of shape right now, but whatever. I'm gonna inquire about this arcane knowledge, because you know what, I'm gonna make this idea of freedom, and I don't believe in destiny, so I feel like she should be able to decide her own fate. And I also feel like on the selfish spectrum of things, because this is a video game, ultimately, right? She's gonna give up the buns. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, she probably will, but that's not the point here. The point here is that maybe if I ask her about this forbidden knowledge that she's curious about, her ideas of doing away with the lots will shift more in line with what I'm thinking, and then that will bring our bond closer, right? So that way when I drop the hammer on Otan, her family is also very powerful. So when I drop the hammer on Otan, I'm hoping that her and I will be close enough for me to potentially call in a favor if I have to, because I do not, A, have the family reputation. I've burnt that quite badly already. I barely am holding my office as a judge. So whatever. I really, like, honestly, as of right now, a lot of my eggs are in this Octavia Melanitis basket. So I don't want to share my revelation because I feel like I don't remember what it was. B, I feel like if I share it, she'll just be like, that's stupid. You know, she won't really care about it. But I'll inquire about this arcane knowledge. I carefully inquire about the lost knowledge Octavia was speaking of. What is she trying to find in these ancient manuscripts? Octavia responds with a playful smile. She takes your hand and leads you into her chambers. That was sooner than I thought. There, under the flickering candlelight, she covers you with a semi-transparent, gold-colored veil. Then she puts a mysterious mask of the same color over your face. Don't speak. You'll understand. Let me in. Octavia entwines her fingers with yours and starts singing. You have never heard this language before. The song is a slow, inhuman drawl. At first, nothing happens. You listen to Octavia's song, watching the glimmer of the candlelight on her face and the walls of her chamber. Everything is gently shifting. And when she cometh near, fear not, but hasten not toward her. Octavia's lips are not moving. The words seem to take shape inside your head by themselves. The skin of your limbs has taken on a different hue. Now it is blue, like that of the Arachnians. Who is sitting opposite you? Octavia? Yourself? You can't tell anymore. Everything has become one. The world fades away and shatters. Your bodies, the walls, the rooms, the buildings, the city. Everything grows pale and dissolves into the light. All of it, the lots, the empire, the twin gods themselves, is but a dream. And you have wandered through this dream all your life. You come to your senses in the dead of night, in Lady Melanitis' bed. She is lying beside you, asleep, naked, her black hair spilled across the pillow. You run your trembling fingers over her skin. Octavia is sleeping soundly. +1. Octavia is kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie. Octavia is kind of... It's pretty cool. Theology +2. Wow, so I had like a pretty serious spiritual revelation there. My willpower is maxed out. I really need to start like... My willpower is too high. I need to take some initiative. The Emperor's heir is in danger. News from the capital quickly reaches every corner of the Empire. Jarian and Flavius, the heirs to the throne, have left the Emperor's palace for the province of Monia, which is ruled by Great Chancellor Aegirius Monrogue. The Great Chancellor has accused the Emperor's court of harboring malefactors, conspiring against the Imperial heirs. This is why he has offered them shelter and safety in his own impregnable citadel. Wow. Okay, so, you know, you don't have to look very far into a history book to know that the Great Chancellor just took the Emperor's heirs as hostages. The situation is ugly right now. The common people are particularly worried by the news. They take it as a sign that the Chancellor is seeking to solidify his power by holding the heirs hostage. Yeah, okay. Glad they said it. If this continues, Monroe will coerce the Emperor into revoking the Imperial law, thus depriving the common estate of any and all rights. All hope for reform in the Empire has vanished. From farmer to rich industrialist, the commoners are growing desperate. In your province, the authorities are trying their best to put the people at ease. Magistrate Van Azant makes a speech from his balcony to the excited crowd below. Amiel Vermin. Trust in your Emperor, good people. The Imperial heirs are the future of the Great Tempest Dynasty. The Emperor has made the wise decision to send them far away from the scheming court. Great Chancellor Monroe will take good care of them and keep them safe. All glory to the Empire, all glory to the Tempest. Yeah, right. Chapter Peacetime ends soon. Examine possible chapter endings to check which way you are headed. To achieve the goal that you've chosen, you'll have to meet all of its conditions at the end of this chapter. Oh. The supporters of Archduke Melanitis take over the city. So what it seems like for like literally every single one of these conditions is that my career needed to be really heavily invested in. I can't wait till I'm done drinking that tea. It's just so bad. It tastes like I'm drinking field. You know, like like freshly mowed field. That smell, you know, before it's dried out and turns into hay. That's what it tastes like. The search for evidence. You are walking up the marble stairs that lead to the doors of the prefecture. The sword of the younger twin, carved from stone, looms over the doors, just as the case of Dorius Oton now looms over you. Preparing this case will take many long months or even years. The words of Prefect Elborn are evidence enough of that. Time and again, you will ask yourself, are you ready to see this case through to the end? Father meets you at the stairs, and judging by the door look about him, I don't even know what that word means. Sorry. That is one thing I do. Okay. So, severe, stern, or gloomy in manner or appearance. That's what door means. I'm glad I know that now. Oh no, go back. News of your most recent case has already reached him. Okay. Son, I didn't want to discuss this back home. Oborn is our friend, and I stand by him at all times, but he's dragged you into something that is far too dangerous. I'm not going to repeat your grandfather's mistakes, so I won't tell my son how to live his life or what to do. Oh, thanks, Dad. But I ask you to please consider our family. Would it be worth it to let us come to harm, even if the triumph of justice and law is at stake? There are already rumors at the prefecture. They say you're getting ready to summon a highborn Archne into court. Soon these rumors will spread beyond the prefecture walls. You and I are both Brantes. Perhaps we ought to stay away from something so dangerous. Some battles are too ugly for us to win. You can always slow down the process and bide your time with routine paperwork. Avoid attracting unwanted attention. This way your career and our family honor would not be at risk. Trust me in this, son. Rather than making a selfless sacrifice, we can achieve far more through tireless service for the good of the law. You promise your father you will consider his words. You say goodbye and return to your office. You are at a crossroads. If you are to make any headway in the case against Oton, you have to start now, while the trail of his misdeeds is still fresh. You have little first-hand knowledge of Oton's criminal wrongdoings, only Thomas's stories and what you have seen for yourself. Turning this case into a trial requires far more evidence than that. Your friend could be the key to the entire case, if he can help you find the other men who have suffered under the remorseless Archnean. But Thomas is a hunted man. He has every reason to lay low and steer clear of the courthouse. If Thomas can put you in touch with other victims and witnesses among the soldiers and officers of the Legion, perhaps you could gather evidence yourself. But the Legion may meet a lone outsider such as you with too much resistance. Things might get ugly. You consider your options. Apart from Thomas, who else could help you gather compelling evidence against the commander? Otan is an Arcanian from an ancient dynasty. Anyone involved will hold their tongue, no matter what. The way things are right now, not a single soul would risk angering the Otan, say a middling judge from an unknown family. Unless an even more highborn Arcanian chooses to support your cause. Gaius Tempest, the Imperial Overseer of Magra, the Emperor's own brother. Every aristocrat in the province knows he detests Dorius Otan for remaining loyal to Archduke Melanitis. Ensuring the Overseer's support would increase your authority greatly, and give you a chance to gather evidence against Otan without Thomas lifting a finger. The Imperial Overseer is one step above the Prefect, your immediate superior. You can only address Gaius Tempest directly if you keep it secret from Elborn. Communicating directly with the Overseer of the province means defying your loyalty to Elborn. Are you willing to do this? How is it defying my loyalty to Elborn? I'm a little confused about that. Uh-oh. It looks like none of my options are very good. It's because of my crap reputation. And... what? He's not in hiding though? I mean, I guess... I didn't know the game was... Dude, I figured he was in a cell, like in the same building as me. I could probably ask him for like... whatever. Puzzled, you start pacing around your office. It's time to decide how you will begin this case. Depending on what you choose, the case against Otan could lead you to unprecedented success, or end your career, or even your very life. I have effectively screwed myself. I'm not happy about any of these options. Father is right. There is no reason to risk your well-being and the well-being of your friends and family like this. This way you will not antagonize the aristocracy. With no noble human or Arcanian perceiving you as a threat, your career will be secure, and it may even flourish. You will refrain from pursuing Otan for now, and commit only the minimum effort necessary to this case. Without leaving your office, you drop a detailed list of Otan's potential transgressions, and indicate that acquiring credible evidence for these crimes is currently impossible. The Legion officers who have fallen victim to Otan's sword are unlikely to speak the duels, anxious as they are to avoid getting challenged again. For many of them, another duel would be their last. The lack of formal complaints from the officers or their families makes inaction even easier. The officers met their death in the line of duty. What else is there to say? You add these conclusions to the thin folder against Otan, then file it away and move it on to other cases. One day, Prefect Elborn pays you a visit to see your progress firsthand. Are you saying you've learned nothing else of note, Brante? What a pity. The Legion soldiers are not the only ones who fear Commander Otan, it seems. I hoped you would be braver than your father, but this is understandable. A dangerous case like this is nothing but a hindrance to a promising young judge who seeks to advance his career, is it not? Well then, it saddens me to say it, but so far we lack the evidence to have the commander indicted, especially since he is a highborn Arcanian. But this is only the beginning. The situation could change at any time. I see you've put away Otan's case to focus on others. Quite sensible, seeing as we have no alternatives right now. If you want to have any chance of getting him indicted in court, we need to make the nobles in the province recognize duels as acts of murder. This means defying a tradition of old. A road perilous and seldom traveled. It means enforcing the rule of law over the Anazat gentry. For now, Sir Brante, return to your other duties and pay particular attention to any dueling incidents. We will take our next step against Sir Otan when the time is right. At the end of the day, you run into your father on the way out of the office. As you go down the winding staircase leading to the exit, he gives you a quick hug when no one is looking. You know what? Life is fleeting, and at least I've got the love of my family. I spoke with Elborn Beef. He's disappointed in you, but don't take it personally. He chose to avoid the ire of the people more powerful than us. You did the right thing. It's much easier for Elborn to get involved in something like this. He's a baron and a noble of the sword. An Arcanian's word won't be enough to have him executed. You, on the other hand, don't have that privilege. You can bring any hope or justice to this world if you're dead. You can't bring any. In this case, it's much more serious than it may seem. Even Sir Otan, highborn Arcanian though he is just a pawn in a much larger game. The Brante family would do well to stay off the board entirely. Well, that's not going to be an option. For forever. Cool. Whatever. My family's reputation needs to be boosted as well. The event is a consequence of your previous actions. Conditions met. Career greater than 5. Not branded by dishonor. Let's see what happens. Room to the top. Your actions result in well-earned progress up the professional ladder. You are expected to have a glorious future in the field of law. You receive more and more invitations to balls and noble gatherings. High-ranking nobles wish to befriend you. Powerful people have been keeping a close eye on your ascent. Today, a personal letter from the magistrate Remy Elverman is delivered to your home. Sir Beef Brante, I would like to further our acquaintance and discuss certain matters over a glass of Illyrian. I will expect you at my estate this afternoon. Accompanied by servants, you walk down the imposing enfilade of Elverman's granite manor. Gold tapestry, stone carvings of ancestors' profiles. Compared to this luxury, your own home seems tiny and cramped. Elverman greets you by the fire. At home, the influential ruler of the city seems peaceful and amiable. Judge Brante, pray come in. I'm delighted to see you again. Servants, pour us some wine. Please, have some. Beef. Though your most recent deeds call for much more than a glass of Illyrian. I'll be frank. After our first encounter, I had my doubts about your trustworthiness. Blah, blah, blah. But now, you have proven by your actions that you have a future. Why, because I'm a piece of crap now? You sip the wine. It is excellent as expected. You calmly reply that you strive to serve the Empire and the Prefecture faithfully in the manner you deem proper. I am overjoyed to see the younger generation honors our traditions and cares about the fate of our nation. We have that in common, you and I. Many see me as merely power-hungry, but why would power itself be of interest to me? My family is already powerful and wealthy. Its position is secure for many generations to come. No, my friend, I need power to save the city that has been entrusted to me from a grave threat. Take a look around. More and more insurgents are preparing a bloody uprising among the common folk. The new faith compels people to defy their lots. The foundation of the Empire has been shaken. What do you think? Will a new world be born from this? Those who hope to see this happen seem to have forgotten that our world was created in accordance with the twins' design. And we are already on the cusp of provoking their wrath. Elverman is becoming truly incensed. Apparently, the fate of the Empire is not just a subject of idle chatter for him. You must understand, Brante. I've seen plenty of starry-eyed idealists yearning to change the world, and I know where those dreams lead. We have trespassed against the sacred order, and now we are on the verge of the wrath of the gods. I am a nobleman and a citizen of the Empire, and it is my duty to save this world from ruin. While the Overseer and the Archduke persist in their futile squabble, the danger is growing. It's time to take matters into our own hands. I'm seeking allies. People who will stand by my side to protect the city and the Empire. I hope you have the courage to become one of us. Let me speak plainly. Prefect Elborn is a lass among those who are dragging us towards our destruction. He aims to subject all estates to the tyranny of the law. He seems to have forgotten that the law must serve the good of the Empire and be a mainstay of order. But Elborn wishes to disrupt this order. He is pushing for the lowborn to gain power. What do you suppose will be the first thing they do once they get it? They'll take up arms and destroy this country. Elborn has doomed himself to a shameful fall. Meanwhile, the city needs someone at the helm of the prefecture who is bound by honor and concerned about the fate of the empire. You can be that someone, Brante. Stare at your glass of wine, trying to hide your feelings. If you prove yourself worthy in the future, Sir Brante, I can promise you the post of Prefect of Magra. I hope you see it not only as a chance to elevate yourself, but alas, to make your mark on history. Side with me, and together we'll save Anazat from the uprising. If you remain Elborn's servant, we both will lose and fall together. So, this game is not a two-way street. It's like a three-way street. Because right now what we're looking at with these responses is, 1, I betray everything for the sake of amassing power. Or 2, I refuse and stick to my family. Or 3, I side with Elborn and screw the power, screw my family and my reputation for the sake of but in theory, couldn't I do it all? You know what I mean? Because really, my only concern here has been preserving the lives of my family. And then probably equal to that, not really second, equal to that is doing away with the old system of the lots, right? Because that is what has impacted the Brante family the most, with its division and its inequities. So, you know what I'm saying? It's a really tough one. This one is not, because what I would assume is that in my mind, I would be able to agree, right? Agree, betray the prefecture, and then use the power in ways that I could level things out. Because what it seems like is that Elborn doesn't have the support of enough people to really affect change with the rapidity that change is being affected outside. You know what I mean? There's uprisings with firearms, there's a schism in the church, there is essentially hostage taking, right? And here I am trying to hold on to my career, my family's reputation, and that's all I've been doing so far, and secret rendezvous with the heiress to the Milanitis dynasty. It's not fast enough. My best friend is rotting away in a prison, you know? Because I can't prosecute Otan fast enough. However, I required what? I required the favor of the mayor. Or one of those possibilities. But I know what's gonna happen is that what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna agree to this, and I'm gonna think that I'll be able to affect change more effectively. but the game will give me no such option. It'll rule out possibilities unfairly, I feel. And if I accept this, Thomas is gonna stay stuck in prison. Or will he? Because one of the requirements was potentially making a deal with the mayor in order to prosecute Otan. I haven't really, this whole stream so far, I have not really felt entirely confident in any of my choices that I've made, and I feel like this is not the time to lack confidence in my choices. Silence. You hold the magistrate's heavy stare and respond calmly that you are not prepared to make any promises. Thank El Vermin for his trust. You are a judge of the prefecture, and you already have a superior. El Vermin frowns, shakes his head disdainfully, and rises from his chair. I am very sorry to hear that, Sir Brante. I had high hopes for you. We could have achieved so much together. Soon you'll see that you've chosen the wrong side. Farewell. What is that, a threat? Back at home, you describe your conversation with the magistrate to your father. Well, Vermin's threatening tone is alarming. Yeah, see, okay, I'm glad I'm not imagining stuff. An enemy as powerful as the magistrate could turn the nobility of Anazad against your family. I'm proud of you for staying loyal to our friend Elborn. The magistrate is a dirty schemer who only uses this talk of honor and protecting the empire as cover, obviously. Don't worry about the family. I'll make sure to talk to the noble families of the city in advance in order to get ahead of the magistrate's plot. Hopefully this will be enough to protect our reputation against his slander. That sucks. Your father's efforts to thwart El Vermin's schemes have been successful so far, but your feud with the magistrate has a damaging effect on your career. The documents you prepare take weeks to be signed. Obtaining an audience or arranging a meeting is frequently impossible. You hear anxious whispers behind your back. Leave Brante across the ruler of the city. Steer clear of him. This event is a consequence of your previous actions. Conditions met. Stefan Brante greater than indifference. Okay. Stefan's Gambit. You have hardly found any time for family matters this year. The events taking place in the city keep you busy at all hours. Tonight you come home extremely late. The fireplace in the sitting room is lit. By the fire you see Stefan with a glass of wine. Your older brother has been waiting for you. You take a seat in the chair by Stefan's side. Your brother keeps turning his glass with his long fingers. Beef, we need to have a talk about Gloria. She flatly refuses to behave as she ought to. Her antics are ruining the family's reputation. If this situation persists, nobility of the sword will be out of the question. Brother, I do not wish her ill, but we have no right to sit idly by. Regrettably, Gloria will never truly be a part of the Brante family. Her origins are too tarnished, so it is our duty to find her a new family. It is high time Gloria got married. But we can't just give our sister to a commoner, can we? And how could any noble wed her knowing her origins? It's been a stumbling block for a long time, but I finally found a suitable match for her. His name is Jose El Pelletier. I remember this guy. He's a young nobleman of the sword, recently graduated from the college. Now he has a position at the city hall. Do you recall a reception several years ago where he couldn't take his eyes off Gloria? Pelletier has been obsessed with her ever since. Not even her lowly origins can deter him. Admittedly, Gloria does not reciprocate his affection just yet. So let us convince Gloria that becoming Sir El Pelletier's bride is her chance to escape her current situation. And then let us pray she comes to her senses and puts her rebellious ways behind her. Isn't this an ideal solution? After marrying El Pelletier, Gloria will be a noblewoman herself. We'll be granting her the freedom she's craved since she was a girl. And then she can write poetry and do whatever else takes her fancy. will enter into negotiations with the El Pelletier family. Rumor has it Jose's father already has a future wife in mind for him, the daughter of an important chancellery official. But Jose's passion must win out in the end. Don't you agree? I feel like this is going to endanger Gloria. As for you, Beef, please help me with Gloria. You're closest with her. You can make her see how beautiful this match will be. She must fulfill her duty to the family that took her in, after all. Stefan looks at you expectantly. You're at a crossroads. Will you accept your brother's plan or refuse him? Will this marriage be a blessing? And for whom? I'll agree. I'll agree. Because honestly, things aren't going to change overnight, right? And so that's going to be the best way for Gloria to live the life that she wants. You remain silent for some time, weighing your decision. The plan your brother has proposed sounds reasonable. In a new family and with a noble title, Gloria will be able to put all the resentment about her fate behind her and be free of the limitations of the lowly estate. You let Stefan know that you are on his side. A broad smile lights up his face as he reclines in his chair. I knew you'd be sensible. Together we can certainly make it happen. But remember how stubborn Gloria is. An easy victory is not to be expected. The next morning you invite Gloria to join you in the library for a private conversation. You inquire carefully about your sister's thoughts on marriage. If a nobleman of the sword were to wed her, she would join the noble estate, and all the arts would be open to her. Gloria laughs in response. Become a noblewoman? In all of Anazat, you'd never find a single nobleman of the sword who would ever marry a lowborn girl like me. I don't even have a father. You mentioned Jose El Pelletier. This spirited young nobleman would be willing to join Gloria in wedlock. Marry El Pelletier? Beef, you don't understand. He's easy on the eyes. He's a skilled warrior and a respected nobleman, but he's been after me for a year now, and I've managed to figure out what he's after. He needs a wife to give birth to his heirs, follow him around obediently at social gatherings, and praise his chivalry. Can you see me in that role? Gloria falls silent for a moment, gathering her thoughts. Besides, I don't even want to be a noblewoman, okay? I can't just live peacefully within the noble estate knowing that other commoners are still suffering. I can't just pretend their misery has nothing to do with me. You try to give her a taste of the benefits that a noble name brings, but your sister doesn't even want to hear you. This is all Stefan's idea, isn't it? You'd never throw me out of the house on your own. So hear this. It's not going to happen. Later, you inform Stefan of your sister's refusal. His face turns to stone. The ingrate. I've almost come to an agreement with old El Pelletier. All the pains we've taken to arrange her future, and this is how she repays us? Well, we'll proceed without consulting her. Brother, we need to devise a way to put pressure on Gloria, even if it takes us a long time. I don't see how she could be so short-sighted, you know what I mean? But whatever. The sun is setting on a cold, windy day as you return from the prefecture. To your surprise, a messenger awaits you at the door with an urgent letter from Sir Elborn. You open the letter. Brante, there is an urgent case that I must entrust to you. We have just received a report of a secret society formed by young nobles. The Archduke's family may be involved. This concerns me. I suspect a possible plot to depose Overseer Tempest. Normally, the Secret Chancellery handles all such cases, but I'd rather investigate the rumors of the plot before there is any action. Preventing unnecessary bloodshed and disgrace would be prudent. You are to investigate this matter as soon as possible. The gendarmes tracked down a suspicious nobleman by the name of Alexis L. Lance. Based on his confession, a meeting of this society will be held tonight. Unfortunately, this is all we were able to learn from him. The L. Lance family is of too high standing for more thorough questioning. Fortunately, all members of this secret society wear masks when attending meetings. We have acquired Lance's personal mask and will ensure that he is late to the meeting. You should be able to impersonate him quite easily. You are to attend the meeting tonight and learn as much as possible about this secret society. This will allow us to foil a dangerous plot, or save many young people from the secret chancellery. The litter includes a delicate gilded mask of intricate workmanship. Fortunately, it fits your face perfectly. It seems your plans for tonight have changed. My little girlfriend is probably a part of this group. Following the prefect's instructions, you come at the appointed hour to an inconspicuous mansion at the edge of Anazot, with a spacious yard and a tall fence around it. The gatekeepers bow and open the gate as soon as they see you. It seems the mask is enough to convince them you belong inside. Inside the yard, you see noble carriages, many more than you had expected. You are ushered into a dressing room of sorts. A change of clothes already awaits you inside. It is a curious garb, a square of flowing, sparkling cloth with clasps and cords to keep it from unwrapping. You have never seen anything like it. With this strange robe and the gilded mask over your normal clothes and face, you cannot help but feel rather silly. This attire feels positively unsuitable for any kind of plotting or stealing. I'm just at a toga party. Next, you proceed to a large room. The windows are covered in black cloth to keep prying eyes away, but you forget about it moments later. What seems to be a strange performance is playing out before your very eyes. You hear droning, unfamiliar music coming seemingly from nowhere. You see candlelight dancing and glimmering. Ribbons of gold and silver are hung along the walls as decorations, and there are people, many people, like you. They are dressed in flowing robes and delicate gilded masks with narrow slits for eyes. The people are talking. They stand unexpectedly close to one another, their hands on each other's shoulders. You approach one of the groups, hoping to overhear the subject of their conversation, but you almost recoil when several arms reach out at once, attempting to grasp you tenderly by the shoulder. Steeling yourself, you put a hand on another person's forearm. The masked people seem friendly and genial. No one appears surprised by your insecurity. And their conversations are also quite out of the ordinary. You hear unfamiliar names that could belong to legendary heroes of old or to the people here who have taken them as a secret identity. You hear mentions of books you do not know and emotions they felt while reading them. Their conversations feel like a strange dream. You hear several voices singing in a far-off corner of the room. There are no lyrics to the song. Each voice maintains its own note. Together, these voices form a tender, softly aching melody. It feels enrapturing. It spirits you away. You feel so distant now from the purpose of your visit, so withdrawn from the judge's trade, so far away from the Empire and from your very self. A hand touches your shoulder, bringing you back to your senses. A pair of familiar eyes look at you intently from behind a glinting greenish-silver mask. They belong to Octavia. You pull back and bow to the Archduke's daughter. I believe I recognize the man behind this mask. I never expected to see you here today, my extraordinary human. But I must behave here. You'd do best to do the same. We are not alone. It would be best if we are not seen too close to one another. As for this place, Sir Brante, allow me to explain. This is my Circle of Latari. And, before you ask, no, we do not plot nor do we scheme. We have removed ourselves as far as possible from such machinations. This place is a little world of our own, a brief respite from tradition, noble customs, and other such fuss. Our gathering is but a pretense, a game of make-believe. We pretend we are neither nobles nor citizens of the Blessed Empire, nor humans nor Archnians, but the Latari. Do you know what this word means? I would not be surprised if you have never heard of the Latari. These days, the people of Latari are mentioned only in rare historical works. Long before us, in an age when this land was fertile and green, the Latari lived upon the land that would become Magra. They were masters of a remarkable art. They could create worlds from nothing but their conscious minds. Many of these people come here for simple entertainment and a brief taste of freedom. Others seek a respite from the binding customs of the noble lot. Still others feel encumbered by their blood tides and ancestral obligations. Only here are we fully free from the burden of our past and our present. Yet some among us seek more than brief moments of freedom. They are drawn here by the fascination with the Latari and their idea that our entire existence can be shaped by the mind alone. We strive to know the Latari people for ourselves. We strive to continue their teachings. We strive to become them. If we happen to master the art of shaping worlds from our own minds, we may yet break free of the trap that is this harsh existence. Surprised by this, you ask her why she is telling you this so openly. She knows that the rituals of extinct races are held in the same regard as magic and punishable as such. In response to your question, Octavia suddenly takes off her golden mask and reveals a slight smile on her once hidden face. May your voice ne'er speak words of deceit. To great shame lies the path of untruth. Where an Arcanian lies, where a human denies, the Latari speak truly forsooth. I'm not afraid. The truth of the Latari matters more to me than any persecution. You came here in secret and wearing a mask, which means that the prefecture has taken an interest in my little gatherings. But I'm confident you will describe this as an innocent club of young nobles and keep our fragile word from prying eyes and ears. Would you do this for me, Beef Brante? These words spoken by Octavia sound more like an assertion than a question. But you are in no hurry to respond. Your thoughts are tangled, lost among the echoing voices, fluid motions, and transcendent music. This gathering is in violation of the law. This you cannot deny. All rituals of extinct races were banned at the foundation of the Empire. You may summon the gendarmes here at any moment. You need only give a sign to the driver. And when they get here, the circle of Latari will be gone in an instant. You will prove to the city that not even the most noble of its denizens are above the law. But Octavia will never forgive you. You could, on the other hand, keep the Circle of Latari a secret from Melbourne and report this meeting as a harmless gathering of young nobles looking for an opportunity to socialize. But if the secret chancellery ever takes interest in these meetings, you will be powerless. Someone has already reported Octavia's circle to the prefecture. There is a very good chance these reports will continue. Perhaps if you tell Octavia of the danger she is facing, she will disband the circle herself. There is one more way you could resolve this predicament. With a piece of paper, some ink, and a bit of skill, the Circle of Latari could become a noble historical society, one of the many dozen in Anazalt alone. Legitimized by the city, Octavia's gatherings would remain a secret within this mansion. But do you have enough influence to make this possible? And would it be wise to expend it in this way? Say something, Beef. There is no time to be quiet. The great mystery of Latari is about to begin. Oh man, my stats suck. Patronage of the powerful. See, if I had accepted that guy's deal, I would have been able to pull that. Pretty sure. My diplomacy sucks too. I'm gonna keep their secret, dude. Oh, you promised Octavia not to tell a soul about the Circle of Latari and ensure the prefecture is none the wiser. You will tell the prefect that this gathering of young nobles is just an elaborate yet harmless amusement that poses no threat to public order whatsoever. The Arcanian lady rewards you with an enigmatic smile. I expected nothing less, Beef Brante. I value your loyalty. The circle is the most important thing in my life right now. If only we were alone, so I could show you the full extent of my gratitude. But the great mystery of the night is about to begin. Since you have joined us tonight, Beef, you will take part in it. Octavia withdraws, walks to the center of the room, and raises her arms. The voices and the music fall silent. Form a circle, O chosen ones, and join hands. Direct your thoughts and feelings towards the circle's center, towards me. Become one with me. Become one inside the circle. Become Latari. Before you know it, the masked people have formed a large circle. They begin to move. It is a strange, slow dance devoid of music. Their movements are unlike any dance you know. Intertwined arms become an embrace, and that embrace then becomes intertwined arms again. Everyone dances, and the dance sweeps you away and absorbs you as well. You see golden faces moving all around. Deep within, you begin to feel a strange connection to them. It is as if you have known them all along, as if you have known yourself as a being with a gilded, delicate face. You are united, one with the people who surround you, insecure no more, uneasy no more, all of you dissolved and blended within this space. You are one. You are Latari. You are the truth. Beyond you, there is nothing. The world around grows dull. The fragments are falling away. Your bodies, the walls, the houses, the city, everything grows dull and disappears in the light. There is only the Latari. Beyond them, there is nothing. The world was but a dream, and you have awoken from it. The music stops, and the circle breaks apart. Your back is perfectly straight, your head held high, as if you actually glimpsed another world through other eyes during the short time you spent there. You shudder at this thought. The minutes spent in this strange dance, what were they? That you do not know. But the law, the lot, the empire itself, they did not exist so long as this dance of unity lasted. Do you understand now? Do you see why there's nothing in this world more important to me than this circle? This world holds us like a prison, yet there can be another. A world free from the twins and their design. Ah, I can glimpse it. But if only I could step into it. Octavia cuts her speech short. She looks at you intently. But this is only my concern and my responsibility, because I want it to be so. Do not return here, Beef. You've seen enough. You'll bring danger upon the circle if you're seen coming here again. The next day, you report to Elborn and tell him that his concerns are baseless. There was no sign of a noble plot whatsoever. It was nothing but a costume party hosted by several young nobles seeking entertainment, and sweet pleasure belongs to the nobles by their lot. Do they not? I figured as much. I'm glad we didn't sick the gendarmes on him. I just hope the secret chancellery and Sir El Pharaoh never hear of these reports. I doubt the advisor would be so tolerant as tolerant of their youthful amusements. Well then, you may return to Oton's case, Brante. As you sift through yet another pile of paperwork, you cannot help but think of the Circle of Latari again. There can be no doubt. The members of the Circle are pretending to be a long-extinct race. They are therefore revolting against the Empire, not on the streets, but in their minds, and this is an even bigger threat. The followers of Latari have escaped punishment, and you have been among them. You participate in the enigmatic ritual of a long-dead race. It ultimately matters not to me. The crowded square, justice is less than 2. Equal to or less than 2. This event is a consequence of your previous actions. Your most recent verdicts seem to have convinced the nobles of their absolute impunity and complete rule over the lowborn estate. And now the commoners in every corner of the province grovel and scream as their landlords take and punish and humiliate. Any attempts to appeal to justice will not succeed. The judges reject all complaints against nobles without even reading them. Today, there is a large gathering of people in the square, in front of the prefecture. But this is no festivity, no celebration, no joyous occasion. This is a mob of commoners. They have come to ask for justice. Many are on their knees, begging, praying. Those with the loudest voices stand on tall barrels screaming at the prefecture. Do you hear us, Sir Prefect? We ask for justice. We beg for protection. Friedman Schmidt? The tax is too high. We cannot pay it twice. Our families starve, but we must pay our last going to the Duke and then the Overseer. Prefect Elborn watches the crowd from his window, lost in thought. He knits his brow as he turns to face you. This is how riots begin, Brante. The commoners are only asking for justice now. If they don't get it, they will try force soon enough. Imagine what will happen if they all bring torches next time. The noble lot is to rule, yes, but we must rule wisely and provide for those we rule over. Too many nobles think the law was written only for the common folk. It pains me to say it, but you seem to be among them, Brante. You seem to be wise enough, Sir Judge, so put your wisdom to use. Go outside and set things right. Something must be done about them before this mob turns into a stampede. Take Captain Lenaud and his men and go into the square. You have to calm these people. They have to disperse before the noble militia notices them and reaches for their swords. And then there won't be any end to the bloodshed. Help me buy some time, and we will defuse the situation together. You are in the square. You stand on the steps of the prefecture surrounded by gendarmes, searching for the leaders of the mob. In the middle of the crowd, standing on a wooden crate, you see a woman dressed in trousers and a jacket, gesticulating wildly. Why does that sound like Gloria? Truth and justice! Truth and justice! Oh, mother goose. Gloria used to recite poetry like that when you were children. But she is not a couch in your home anymore. She now stands in the middle of a roiling human sea. She sees you, and for a moment her voice trails off, but then she starts chanting to the crowd even louder. Give us the law! Give us the law! Another ringleader notices you in the meantime, a sturdy bald man with a short beard and the appearance of a craftsman. Friedmund Schmidt. You're finally here, my lord. You're Judge Brante. We know you well. We know you quite well. We're looking for a way to help His Highness Gaius Tempest hear our pleas. If the prefecture can't protect us, then His Highness is our only hope. The cries and scream grow louder and fiercer. Slowly, the mob of petitioners begins to advance toward the prefecture. The gendarmes are ready to fight back. Captain Lenaud eyes the crowd, awaiting your orders. I'm not here to... I didn't do all this to disperse mobs. Okay, I'm gonna grant their request. You call out for Friedmund Schmidt, one of the ringleaders of the common folk. The demands of the people will be heard, you tell them, and their petition will be referred to Overseer Gaius Tempest. As a judge, you readily assure them that the Empire protects all its subjects in equal measure. Well said, sir. Hey, Judge Brante just promised the Overseer is going to accept our demands. Hooray, that's not what I said, mother. Square roars with approval. I should have just killed him. Oh, I should have just killed him. You hear Gloria's exuberant cries somewhere in the human sea. You furrow your brow. That is not quite what you said. Mark my words, Judge Brante. Soon they'll be saying you promised to get rid of the taxes, and the Archduke, and the lots. I think I'll stay here and keep order. You'd better go with them and collect their petitions for the Overseer like you promised. Several leaders of the march follow you into the prefecture to petition Overseer Gaius Tempest. Elborn meets the commoners inside, surprisingly composed. You are welcome to join me in my office. Brante, could you please return to the square and see to it that the crowd is dispersed? Judge Carlo Falcagraben catches sight of you in the hallway. He almost crushes you against the wall. Have you lost your mind, Brante? You should have scattered the mob and put them in their place, not pampered them. Those commoners have us wrapped around their finger now. What madness made you agree to the to drag the overseer himself into this. He'll be forced to respond to their petition now. Do you have any idea what this means for the prefecture, or for your career, for that matter? I don't really care about any of it anymore. You managed to slip away from Carla Falkgraven without saying a word. Once you are outside at last, the square is almost empty of people, to your great relief. Everything's in order, sir. As soon as you left, the loud girl in men's clothing jumped up on a barrel and shouted that it was time for the people to hold up their end of the bargain. And then they up and left. I never thought it could have ended this peacefully. But is it truly over? Your heart fills with uncertainty as you slowly cast your gaze over the square and what remains of the mob. The common people got what they wanted today, and it was all thanks to you. Gloria +1. Career -3. Justice +2. Why am I still a judge? I can't. Falkgraven needs to keel over and have a heart attack. That's what needs to happen. I need that guy out of my face. (11:43), the last straw. Rumors are running wild in Anazat. People say that a mysterious clandestine society called the Last Straw holds the entirety of the city's seedy underbelly in its clutches, with men and safe houses all over Anazat plotting and scheming against the nobles and the ruler of the province. Their leader is a woman, a ruthless criminal by the name of Sophia. She has evaded all attempts to capture. Wait a minute, Sophia sounds familiar? The common people both fear the Last Straw and sympathize with their cause. If the rumors are true, the city finally has someone who will stop at nothing to help the people claim their rights. Who would support this secret organization? And how did the insurgents manage to survive this long? No one in the city knows the answers. Magistrate, wait, let me read that again. Magistrate Elverman must assuage the people's fears once again. The vile mutineers and heretics who call themselves the Last Straw will be caught and executed very soon. And anyone who has given them money and shelter will meet the same fate. The secret chancellor will make sure of that. But even facing a manhunt, the Last Straw still endures. Slowly but surely, the influence of this underground organization is spreading throughout the city. Misery and devastation. Things, I guess, finally have taken a step in the direction of the commoners in power. Unrest is now what is going on. Threats and promises. You are in the middle of ascending the city hall's long, curved marble staircase, a small man beneath the building's towering vault. You were suddenly visited that night by messengers from Magistrate Elverman. They insisted the reason was most urgent. You are already expected upstairs, so... There is a deafening silence in the lavishly decorated corridors. Your footsteps the only noise you can hear. Finally, you enter the spacious room that is the office of Elverman, a stately official of considerable age. You find him sitting in his comfortable chair of carved wood. He acknowledges your presence with a nod. However, the magistrate is not alone. By the window of the office stands a tall Archnean. The cape of the Imperial Legion covers his shoulders. He is Dorius Oton, the commander of Magra, in the flesh. He does not even bother to turn around and look at you. The magistrate gestures to you formally, beckoning you closer. Judge Brante, you have come at last. Sir Oton has been eagerly awaiting your arrival. Uh-oh. You see, the commander has learned about a litigation being prepared against him at the prefecture. He demanded that an end be put to these machinations at once. And I humbly offered him my assistance. Slowly, Oton turns to face you. He eyes you with cold contempt. Brante, you again. So you've been chosen to oversee this so-called case against me. I don't envy you. I will be brief. I will not stand idly by in the face of slander and baseless accusations. Give me your word of honor as a nobleman that you will do everything in your power to put a stop to this litigation. Only then will you be free to leave. I will treat any other answer as an insult against my noble lineage, and let it be known that Sir Elverman holds many positions, such as the chairman's seat of the Court of Honor, which means that any insult will be soon followed by a legitimate duel of honor. I'm sure you know full well how others have fared against me in duels. Otan turns towards the window before you say anything, as if your answer has already been heard. Magistrate Elverman watches Otan and you silently with a mysterious smirk. You stand before the two lords of the city, a young man only recently ennobled by the mantle. Any word that leaves your lips now will affect your fate. Training the prefect would have made a lot of things easier this chapter. But what is the value? If Otan challenges you to a duel, a lesser death is certain. Any attempt to avoid it will only delay the inevitable, so you'd be best to confront him now. And so, head held high, you place your hand on the hilt of your sword and take a step closer to Otan. Next come the words, your words, echoing loudly in the stunned silence of the city hall. Indeed, you are the judge in charge of Otan's case, and you will see it through to the very end. Your duty and your honor demand that you serve the Empire and enforce its laws, which apply to all of its subjects. Yes, Otan will surely defeat you in a sacred duel, but the evidence you have gathered against him will see the light nevertheless. You are far from the only judge ready to challenge even the most powerful nobles of the province in the name of the law, and no matter what, justice will find Otan and strike him down. Otan is stunned by your verbal assault. For a moment, he remains motionless by the window, his face an azure mask. Slowly, the commander of Magra walks towards you, his heavy, piercing gaze transfixing you. You, a human, dare to threaten me? You calmly meet his eyes in total silence. Then suddenly a grimace of rage splits the Archnean's face. His sword flashes like lightning. You barely have time to draw your own blade. The clanging of swords cuts through the stunned silence of City Hall. Otan lets out a torrent of strikes in an attempt to overwhelm you. Again and again, you barely deflect them. The Archnean's command of the blade is impeccable. You cannot possibly stand your ground against him for long. You cannot find even a single opening to strike as Otan's fierce assault drives you toward the window. A commanding voice calls out from the other side of the office. Sir Otan, what do you think you're doing? Ooh, Elvermans. Okay. For a moment, Otan stops. This is your chance. You prepare to strike him down as quickly as you can, but the commander of Magra notices your movement. He steps to the side and runs you through with his sword. And I am dead. A cold wave washes over you as the steel enters the body. You slowly collapse onto the marble floor, barely able to move. Otan stands tall over you, panting with rage. Sir Otan, what have you done? This is no honorable, noble duel. It is a murder in the heart of the City Hall, in front of the chairman of the Court of Honor, no less. I insist that you leave Brante alone from now on. One death is enough for him. Having caught his breath, Otan slowly wipes his sword and sheathes it again. You forget yourself, Elverman. You're as much a human as he. Still, what you say makes sense. This judge doesn't deserve my wrath. But if he ever tries to tarnish the name of Otan again, you lie prone at the feet of your murderer, your hands clutching at the wound of your chest, a tiny speck of red on your white dress shirt. Black clouds your vision. Your final thoughts freeze and slowly disintegrate as you leave your dead body and head for the glimmering white high above. Second death. At the hands of Otan. In the City Hall. Impenetrable darkness surrounds you. You stand alone, bare to your very essence. It paralyzes you. You have an urge to cover yourself, to hide. No one should see you so vulnerable. But you cannot conceal the truth in this place. You are bathed in an unbearably bright light. It has no hint of warmth in it. It is blinding. It leaves no shadows in the entire world. It is the light of the shining pillar itself. In its radiance, you can clearly see all your thoughts and doubts, your errors and transgressions, the contradictions that have permeated you since birth. They cover you from head to toe like rough gray tatters. But they melt away in this light. You are naked. You feel liberated and whole. It is as though all the wounds and cracks in your soul have been healed, making it the way it should be. It is as though the scales have fallen from your eyes. You see the true shapes of things now. These are the laws by which the world abides, the grand design that moves life itself. You tread a path that is barely visible in the blinding light, giving shape to everything. In this light, you see the infinite complexity of the world, from the tiniest leaf to the enormity of the empire. And this world maintains its balance by virtue of the law that was embedded in it during the act of creation. Ahead of you, two figures are waiting on the path. They are gigantic, many times taller than a man. The elder holds a lash, the younger a sword. The younger gazes at you sternly, coldly. You kneel obediently before him and lower your head. The god raises his sword above you. This is divine retribution. There is no law without it, nor can there be. Every action has consequences. This is what shapes the world, making its very existence possible. In this moment, beneath the gaze of the merciless god, you comprehend the law that binds the entire world together. Which manifestation of the law will you live by? Empire, is this not the ultimate manifestation of the law? The great and incredibly sophisticated mode of existence of all people? Yeah, definitely not the lots. Family. It is a law that has been with you since the day you were born. Your family is a model of the world, a tiny universe, and it belongs to you just as you belong in it. Cause. Your life's work shapes the world, and thus you influence the great law itself. Yourself. You are an embodiment of the law. You have been made in accordance with the divine design, against the law. You defy the design of the gods and the law that binds it together. The blade flashes. The younger's sword slashes through the air above your head. You do not yet deserve your final punishment. The law demands that you continue your life. Your form has not been completely destroyed, nor has that of the world. The younger extends his gigantic hand and shows you the way. You must proceed. The path leads you to the top of the crown of the silver tree, spread wide in the white gleam. The branches are close now. It is time to descend. You are drawn downward into darkness. The shadows that had disappeared in the blinding glow creep around you and envelop you. This is to be expected, but the purity and clarity of spirit are still with you. Something is forcing your throat open. Air. It scratches you on the inside. Your soul is filled to struggle again, with the contradictions from which the fabric of this world and you yourself are woven. The divine light that gave you clarity is fading away with each passing moment. You have to open your eyes. Above you is the dark ceiling of the crypt. You are reborn. You come to your senses atop the stone slab of your family crypt. For a while, you do not move, slowly getting acquainted with your body born anew. Your mother's somber silhouette stands above you, bowed in prayer. You hear her quiet, meek voice just as you did as a child. At last, you're back with us, Beef. My son, it pains so much to watch you sacrifice yourself so, all for the sake of your trade and your honor. You have 4 lives in this world by the twins' grace, each a precious gift. You've cast away the lowly lot of suffering, so I beg you, do not seek it anew. Steer clear of pain and wounds and death. Your father appears in the doorway of the crypt. He comes closer and bows to you respectfully. Son, the entire city is talking about you and your sword fight with Otan. Even the highest aristocracy believes the commander of Magar deserves all the blame for assaulting you without challenging you to a duel. While you acted like a true nobleman and defended the honor of the Brante name, you suffered a lesser death through no fault of your own. You leave the family crypt with a heavy heart. You have resisted Otan. He will not be clashing with you directly anytime soon, but his sword will continue to loom over you until this case comes to an end. Valor. I've died twice now, and I used a little bit of willpower, and I've actually regained a little bit of reputation from it. Nobleman's honor. Otan's case still looms over you, a burden and a threat. As the strife between the estates grows more bitter, the judge's trade grows tougher by the day. The commoners demand more rights and legal protections. The nobles do their best to push back. As things stand right now, any verdict made in court may result in upheaval in the province, and possibly determine the outcome of your case against Otan. One day in a park by the Falez estate, favored by dueling Anizot nobles, you see a curly-haired young man lying prone in the small sunlit square. His body has been pierced by a sword, and it has not vanished, a true death. You are here to investigate a report of an illegal duel. The winner is still here, a slender, middle-aged noble in an elegant black jacket, his hand still on the hilt of his sword, surrounded by gendarmes. Your orders, Your Honor. Sir El Corvio will not submit on his own, and we wouldn't dare use force against him. You sign for the gendarmes to lower their weapons and approach the duelist. El Corvio's eyes widen and his face comes to life when he notices you. Before you can ask him, the nobleman begins to speak, far louder than necessary. It was a duel, sanctioned by the Court of Honor. That is all. The late Sir El Este questioned my loyalty to the Emperor and called me an apostate. He left me no other choice but to defend my honor, and now he's dead. Please be quick with your verdict, Sir Judge. I am expected at the capital. You do know who I am, don't you? Before you can say a single word, a carriage bearing the crest of Magistrate El Vermin rolls through the gate. The magistrate furrows his silvery brow as he looks at the sorrowful scene, then gestures politely for El Corvio to approach his carriage. With a chuckle, the duelist walks through the line of gendarmes and leans on the carriage. Meanwhile, the magistrate takes you aside for a moment. Brante, as you know, I am the chairman of our city's Court of Honor. I refused to sanction this duel for as long as I could since true death was on the line, but Alan El Corvio insisted that denying him would spell trouble for the city of Anizot. Regrettably, he's a small, yet very important person in the Emperor's court. He used to command the Emperor's personal guard. I realize that you must mete out justice as your duty demands, but remember, duels of honor are one of the cornerstones of Imperial tradition, one of the pillars that support the twins' divine vision for the Empire. You have the authority to punish El Corvio, but be careful. You might make a dangerous enemy both for yourself and for all the nobles of Anizot. That fool El Este didn't know this, and now he's lying there before us. We would be wise not to repeat his mistake. The Magistrate of Anizot glances around, then continues in a hushed tone. Brante, this situation is far from ordinary. If the fate of your city means anything to you, it would be best to let El Corvio go without a trial. Anizot does not need any trouble from the capital, and the El Estes are not as strong as they used to be. They'll get through it. You may find him if you wish. El Corvio will pay it and move on, and justice will be done, at least to some extent. However, if you can defuse the matter entirely, you'll earn favor with all the aristocracy of Anizot, and I'll personally see to it you get a swift promotion. Deep in thought, you gaze upon the body of the dead duelist and the long shadow of El Corvio. The decision you are about to make could influence all future duels in the province, as well as your own standing. Pronounce the court of honor illegal. I wish I could. I'm close. I'm close. I mean, my diplomacy was off by 4 points and my justice off by 2. Your elite patronage allows you to have the murderer prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. All because of Octavia Milanitis. I'm kind of reluctant to cash in on that right now, because I feel like I'm gonna need her for the Oton situation. But at the same time, I don't know. That's a tempting one. I have to protect my family's reputation. Because you know, I really need to get this career up and this diplomacy up, because this Oton situation is gonna get worse, and I'm probably gonna need every stat I can get. You approach the silent El Corvio with your decision. You find him guilty of manslaughter. As punishment, he is ordered to pay a fine to the Imperial Treasury and make a donation to the family of the dead man. El Corvio's lips twist in a wry grin. He throws a heavy coin purse your way. That ought to be enough to cut down a couple more brash, impudent youths who dare to call me a traitor to the crown. I have urgent business in Eterna, Judge. I'm sure you can handle the paperwork yourself. Farewell. With an accommodating smile, O'Verman opens the door of his carriage to the duelist. El Corvio vanishes within. Before they leave, the magistrate takes a moment to approach you. The Court of Honor thanks you for this wise resolution, Beef Brante. Now I will placate El Corvio myself. You've acted like a true noble, even though traces of this incident will remain, unfortunately. Your reasonable action will not be forgotten. Career +1, justice -1. You dismiss the gendarmes and return to the prefecture to take care of the paperwork. As long as your report is worded carefully enough, nothing about this incident will clash with the empire-wide dueling ban. But no matter what the paperwork says, young El Este will still be dead. Facts. Diplomacy +1, willpower +5. So that diplomacy stat is becoming important. The hunt for Thomas. The hunt for Thomas? Yeah. This chapter has been whooping my ass. In certain ways, I've done well, but I think the majority of this chapter has been rather rough for me and my decision making. It's kind of making me reflect deeply within the decisions of my own life, as it has done before. That's not new for this game. That's one of the reasons why I like it, I think. But yeah, I don't know. I can't wait to stream it next Wednesday, because I'm gonna stop it right here. And the hunt for Thomas, I can't handle it right now. I really can't. I really can't handle it. We'll pick back up on Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as per the stream schedule. We are not done with this game yet, and every Wednesday is dedicated solely to streaming this game. In the meantime, I do appreciate you guys joining me very, very much. And I still have to upload like all of these life and suffering videos to YouTube as well. That way you can go back and catch up if you missed. I'm gonna just say that at the end of every stream of this game, because I know maybe the story is very good on this game. It's very good. But if you missed anything, you don't have to feel bad about missing a stream. You'll be able to catch it on my YouTube, which is just BeefTube stream on YouTube, for whatever that's worth. But yes, we'll stop it here for this evening, and a lot to think about. Life is busy, right? Just remember, when you build your mind, don't forget to build your body, and vice versa, right? Set the example, especially for yourself. You're very impressionable, you know? Alright, I'll catch you next time.